I'm standing in my bathroom right now, opposite our bedroom where I found him. I couldn't wrap my head around what just happened, where everything I knew about my life ended. My husband Richard and my son's fiancée Jessica, together. And the worst part? My son Daniel knew. He'd known for weeks. He stopped me from saying a word. Before we begin, drop a comment below with your country and what time it is right now where you're watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Don't just sit back. Tell me where in the world you are. Now, let's dive into the story. It was a Tuesday. I remember because Tuesdays I volunteer at the library until 3, but that Tuesday Mrs. Patterson was sick, so I came home early. I walked in through the side door, the one that doesn't make noise. I could hear voices upstairs, low voices, Richard's voice, and a woman laughing. I stood there holding my purse, my keys still in my hand. The laugh wasn't mine. It was younger, lighter. I moved to the stairs, each step quiet. My heart was loud, but my feet weren't. At the top, I saw our bedroom door, open just a crack. I looked through. Richard was sitting on our bed, the bed we'd shared for 34 years. Jessica was standing close, too close, her hand on his shoulder, his hand on her waist. They were talking soft, smiling. Then he kissed her. Not a peck, a real kiss. I backed away, my hand over my mouth. I didn't scream, I didn't cry, I just moved backward until I was in the hallway bathroom. I sat on the edge of the tub. I sat there for maybe 20 minutes. I heard them leave the bedroom, heard them go downstairs, heard the front door close. When I came down, Richard was in the kitchen, making coffee like nothing happened. "You're home early," he said. I looked at him, this man I'd known since I was 23. I opened my mouth to say I saw you, but then my phone rang. It was Daniel, my son. "Can you come over? I need to talk to you." I drove to Daniel's apartment. My hands shook the whole way. He lived 15 minutes from us, a small place near the college where he taught. When I got there, he was pacing. "Mom, sit down." "What's wrong?" "I need you to listen, and I need you to not do anything." My stomach dropped. "Daniel, what?" "I know about Dad and Jessica." The room tilted. "You know?" He nodded, his look sick, pale. His hands were shaking too. "How long?" I asked. 3 weeks, maybe 4. "And you didn't tell me?" "I couldn't. Mom, listen, you can't say anything, not yet." I stood up. "What do you mean I can't say anything? Your father is cheating with your fiancée, and you want me to stay quiet?" "Mom, please, sit down, there's more." I sat. I don't know why, maybe because he looked so desperate. "Jessica's pregnant." I stopped breathing. "She told me 2 months ago. We were happy, we were planning the wedding. Then I noticed things, little things. She'd come home late, she'd shower right away. She started going to your house more, to help Dad with the yard," she said. "Daniel." "I followed her one day. She went to a hotel. Dad met her there." "And you still didn't tell me?" His eyes filled. "Because I needed to know if the baby was mine." Oh, God. I took her toothbrush, sent it to a DNA lab, paid extra for the rush. The results came back yesterday. He handed me a paper. I didn't want to touch it, but I did. The baby wasn't his. I sat in Daniel's apartment holding that paper. My hands wouldn't stop shaking. My son stood by the window. He wasn't crying. He was just staring out at nothing. "She doesn't know I know," he said. "About the baby. About the test." "Why not?" "Because I'm waiting." "For what?" He turned to me. His face was hard. For her to tell me the truth. For Dad to tell me. I want to see how far they'll go. I set the paper down. Daniel, this is insane. You can't just... Mom, I'm asking you, please, don't say anything to Dad. Not yet. I have a plan. What plan? Trust me. I wanted to scream. I wanted to drive home and throw Richard's things on the lawn. But I looked at my son. He was broken, and he was asking me to wait. So I said yes. I went home that night. Richard was watching television. He smiled when I walked in. How's Daniel? Fine. Good. Jessica's coming over tomorrow. She wants to talk about the wedding flowers. I almost laughed. Almost. Okay, I said. I went upstairs. I took a shower. I stood under the water for a long time. When I got out, I looked at myself in the mirror. I looked old, tired, like someone I didn't know. The next day, Jessica came over. She knocked on the door at 10. She had a binder full of flower pictures. She sat at my kitchen table like she belonged there. I'm thinking roses, she said, but Daniel wants something simpler. What do you think? I poured her tea. My hand didn't shake. I smiled. I think you should choose what you want. She beamed. You're so sweet. I'm lucky to have you as a mother-in-law. I watched her flip through pictures. This girl, 26 years old, pregnant with my husband's baby, sitting in my house, planning a wedding to my son. Jessica, I said, can I ask you something? She looked up. Of course. Do you love Daniel? Her face changed, just a little, just for a second. Of course I do. Good, I said, because he deserves someone who's honest with him. She went pale. What do you mean? Nothing, just that honesty matters in a marriage. She left 20 minutes later. She forgot her binder. I looked through it after she was gone. There was a list in the back. Baby names, girl names, and boy names. None of them were names Daniel would choose. That night, Richard came home late. He said he was at the gym, but he smelled like perfume, Jessica's perfume. How was your day? He asked. Fine. Jessica was here. He froze, just for a second. Then he smiled. Oh, yeah? Wedding planning? Something like that. He kissed my forehead, like he always did, like nothing was wrong. I went to bed early. I lay there in the dark. I thought about 34 years. I thought about all the times I'd trusted him, all the times I'd believed him, all the times I'd put him first. I thought about the baby growing inside her, a baby that should have been my grandchild, but wasn't. I didn't sleep that night. The next morning, Daniel called. Can you meet me? There's something I need you to see. I met Daniel at a coffee shop on Randolph Street, not our usual place, somewhere new, somewhere Richard wouldn't think to look. Daniel was already there. He had a folder. What is this? I asked. Sit down first. I sat. He opened the folder. Inside were bank statements, credit card bills, hotel receipts, all with Richard's name. I hired someone, Daniel said, a private investigator. I needed to know everything. I looked at the papers, charges going back 6 months, hotels, restaurants, jewelry stores. 6 months, I said? At least, maybe longer. There was a receipt from Brennan's, the restaurant where Richard took me for our anniversary. Except this receipt was from April. Our anniversary is in September. He took her there, I said. Daniel nodded. I looked at another receipt, a necklace, $1,500. I'd never seen Jessica wear it, but then I remembered. She wore it to Easter dinner. She said Daniel bought it for her. He's been using our money, I said. Your money, Daniel corrected. The account is in both your names, but you're the one who inherited from Grandma. You're the one who worked for 30 years. I'd been a nurse. I'd worked nights, weekends, holidays. I'd put Daniel through college. I'd paid off our house. Richard had worked too, but he'd retired early, 5 years ago. He said he wanted to enjoy life. Apparently he was. There's more, Daniel said. He pulled out another paper, a life insurance policy. My life insurance policy, the one I'd set up when Daniel was born. Richard was the beneficiary. $200,000. So? Look at the date. I looked. The beneficiary had been changed 3 months ago. Now it was split, half to Richard, half to Jessica. My hands went cold. How did he— You signed it, Mom. Remember? He said it was paperwork for the house refinance. You signed a stack of papers. I did remember. Richard had brought them home, said the bank needed signatures. I'd been tired. I'd signed them all. He forged this? No, you signed it, but you didn't know what it was. I set the paper down. My chest hurt. Why would he put her on my insurance? Daniel's face was stone. Because they're planning something. Planning what? I don't know yet, but Nam, you need to be careful. I laughed. It sounded wrong. You think your father would hurt me? I think he's capable of more than we knew. I drove home in a fog. I pulled into the driveway. Richard's car was there. I sat in my car for a long time. Then I went inside. Richard was in the living room, reading the paper. Hey, honey, where were you? Library. On a Saturday? They needed help. He nodded, went back to his paper. I went upstairs. I opened my jewelry box, the pearls my mother gave me, the ring from my grandmother, all still there. But I checked the drawer in Richard's nightstand, the one he thought I never looked in. Inside was a passport, his passport, and another one, Jessica's. There was also a folder. I opened it. Inside were tickets, 2 tickets, to Costa Rica, leaving in 3 weeks, the day after the wedding. No ticket for Daniel. I put everything back exactly how I found it. My hands were steady now. Something had shifted inside me. I wasn't shaking anymore. I was cold, clear. I went downstairs. Richard was still reading. I sat across from him. Richard, can we talk about money? He looked up. What about it? I want to make sure everything's in order, in case something happens to me. His face didn't change. Nothing's going to happen to you. Still, I want to be prepared. Can we go over our accounts? The insurance? All of it.
He set down his paper. Why are you worried about this now? I'm 68 years old. I should be worried. He smiled. You're healthy as a horse. Even horses die, Richard. He laughed, but it sounded thin. Okay, sure, we can go over everything. Tomorrow? Today. I have plans today. What plans? He hesitated just a second. Golf with Tim. Tim was his friend from work, retired now like Richard, but I knew Tim was in Florida. His daughter had posted about it on Facebook. Okay, I said, tomorrow then. He nodded, picked up his paper again. I went to the kitchen. I called Daniel. I found tickets, I said. Costa Rica, him and Jessica, leaving the day after your wedding. Silence. Daniel? I'm here. His voice was shaken. What do we do? I don't know yet, but I'm gonna figure it out. I hung up. I stood at the sink. I watched Richard through the doorway. This man I'd slept next to for 34 years. This man I'd cooked for, cleaned for, cared for. He was gonna leave, with her, with my money, and he was gonna do it right after watching our son marry her. I thought about the insurance policy, about how easy it would be. If something happened to me before they left, they'd get the money. They'd get everything. I needed to be smart, careful. That night, I called my brother. Frank lived in Ohio. We talked maybe once a month, but he was the only person I trusted completely. Frank, I need help. I told him everything. He listened, didn't interrupt. When I finished, he was quiet. "What do you want to do?" he asked. "I want to protect myself and Daniel. You need a lawyer, today." "I can't. Richard'll notice." "Then come here. Tell him you're visiting me. Stay a week. We'll figure it out." I thought about it. Okay. The next morning, I told Richard I was going to Ohio to see Frank. He barely looked up. "How long?" "A week, maybe 2. "Okay, have fun." He didn't ask why, didn't offer to come, nothing. I packed a bag. I drove to the airport. I flew to Cleveland. Frank picked me up. He looked older, gray hair, thicker around the middle, but his eyes were the same, sharp, kind. "You look tired," he said. "I am." We went to his house. His wife, Karen, made dinner. We sat at their table. I told him everything again. Karen cried. Frank just listened. "Tomorrow," he said, "we're seeing my lawyer. We're going to protect everything you have. Then we're going to figure out how to stop this." That week, I met with 3 lawyers. I changed my will. I set up a trust. I moved money into accounts Richard couldn't touch. I documented everything, every receipt, every lie, every piece of evidence Daniel's investigator had found. "If something happens to you," the lawyer said, "none of this goes to Richard. It goes to Daniel, and Jessica gets nothing." Good. "But you need to file for divorce, soon, before he tries something." "Not yet," I said. "I need to do this my way." I flew home after 9 days. Richard picked me up from the airport. He kissed my cheek. "How was Frank?" "Good. He says hello." We drove home. The whole way Richard talked about normal things, the lawn, the neighbors, a movie he'd watched, like everything was fine. When we got home, Jessica's car was in the driveway. "Oh," Richard said, "she's here. She wanted to show you something about the wedding." We walked inside. Jessica was in the kitchen. She had papers spread across the table, seating charts. "Oh, good, you're back." She hugged me. I let her. "How are you feeling?" I asked. She blinked. "Feeling? You look tired. Are you okay?" "Oh, yeah, just busy with wedding stuff." I smiled. "And other things?" Richard coughed. "I'll make coffee." Jessica looked nervous. "What other things?" "Nothing, just you're young. Lots going on." She relaxed. "Right, yeah." I sat down. "Can I ask you something, as your future mother-in-law?" "Of course." "Do you think you're ready for marriage? It's a big commitment." She glanced at Richard. He was facing away, making coffee, but I saw his shoulders tense. "I love Daniel," she said. "I know you do, but love isn't always enough. You have to be honest. You have to be faithful. You have to put your husband first." Her face went white. "I know that," she whispered. "Good, because if you can't do those things, you shouldn't marry him." Richard turned around. "Honey, what's this about?" I looked at him. "Just sharing advice from an old married woman." He smiled, but it didn't reach his eyes.
Jessica left 30 minutes later. Richard sat across from me. You were a little harsh with her. Was I? She's nervous about the wedding. She should be. He frowned. What does that mean? It means marriage is serious. She should be sure. He stared at me, like he was trying to figure out what I knew, but I kept my face calm, blank. That night, I heard him on the phone in his office, door closed. I stood outside and listened. She's acting weird, he said. I don't know. She keeps asking questions. Pause. No, she couldn't know. We've been careful. Pause. After the wedding, just like we planned. 2 weeks, then we're gone. I walked away. I went to the bedroom. I lay down in the dark. I thought about 2 weeks, about what they thought would happen, about how stupid they thought I was. The next morning, Daniel called. We need to talk, in person. I met him at his apartment. He looked terrible, like he hadn't slept. I confronted her. What? Last night, I told her I knew about everything. My heart stopped. Daniel, I told you to wait. I couldn't. Mom, I couldn't keep pretending. I told her I knew about Dad, about the baby. What did she say? He laughed. It was bitter. She cried. She begged. She said it was a mistake. She said she loved me. She said she'd do anything. Did she tell your father? I don't know. I told her not to. I told her if she did, I'd make sure everyone knew. Her family, her friends, everyone. Daniel. He started to cry. She's going to break up with Dad. She promised. She said she'd tell him today. I sat down. You believe her? I don't know what I believe anymore. I took his hand. Listen to me. You can't trust them. You can't trust either of them. So what do I do? You wait. A little longer. Can you do that? He nodded. I went home. Richard was in the garage, working on something. I walked past, went upstairs. I checked his nightstand again. The tickets were gone. The passports, too. He'd moved them. 3 days before the wedding, Jessica called me. Her voice was shaking. Can we meet? Just us? Where? The park, on Belmont. Please.
I met her there. She was sitting on a bench. Her eyes were red. She'd been crying. I sat next to her. What's wrong? I need to tell you something, and I need you to not hate me. Okay. She took a breath. I'm pregnant, and it's not Daniel's. I didn't say anything. It's Richard's, your husband's. We've been seeing each other for months. I know. Her head snapped up. What? I know. I've known for weeks. She stared at me. You knew? Yes. And you didn't say anything? No. She started crying harder. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I don't know what happened. He was nice to me. He listened, and then it happened. It just happened? I kept my voice level. For 6 months? She covered her face. I'm a terrible person. Yes, you are. She looked up at me, shocked. Did you think I'd comfort you? Did you think I'd forgive you? I don't know. I had to tell someone. Does Richard know you're here? No. Does Daniel? He knows about the baby, about Richard. I told him 3 days ago. And what did he say? He said he never wanted to see me again. Good boy. What are you going to do? I asked. I don't know. Richard says we're still leaving after the wedding. He says we'll start over in Costa Rica. After a wedding that's not happening. She blinked. What? Daniel's not going to marry you, Jessica. You know that, right?
He said he needed time to think. I almost felt sorry for her. Almost. Richard's using you, I said. You know that too, right? No, he loves me. He loves my money, my insurance policy, the life we built. He doesn't love you. You're just younger, easier. Her face crumpled. That's not true. Tell me something. When he takes you to hotels, does he pay cash? She nodded. When he buys you things, does he use a credit card you've never seen? She nodded again. That's my credit card, Jessica. My money. Everything he's given you came from me. She stood up. You're just jealous. You're old and bitter and jealous. Maybe, but I'm not stupid, and I'm not the one who's pregnant and alone. She walked away, fast, almost running. I sat there on the bench. I watched her go. I felt nothing, just cold. That night, Richard came home late. He went straight to his office. I heard him on the phone again. She's losing it. No, I handled it. The wedding's canceled anyway. We leave in 2 days, not 2 weeks. I don't care. We're going now. I packed a bag. Just one. I took my jewelry, my documents, the new bank cards for the accounts Richard didn't know about. I took my grandmother's quilt, the photo albums, everything that mattered. I loaded the car while Richard was asleep. I worked quietly, carefully. At 4 in the morning, I left. I drove to Daniel's apartment. I knocked softly. He opened the door. He looked half asleep. Mom, what's wrong? Pack a bag. We're leaving. What? Your father and Jessica are running tomorrow. I heard him on the phone. We need to move first. He stared at me. Then he nodded. Give me 10 minutes. We drove to Frank's house, Daniel following me in his car. We drove through the night. We stopped once for gas and coffee. We didn't talk. There was nothing left to say. We got to Frank's at 2 in the afternoon. Karen was waiting. She'd made up rooms, made food. She hugged both of us. You're safe now, she said.
That night, my lawyer called. I filed everything. Divorce papers, restraining order, fraud charges. Richard's accounts are frozen. He can't access anything. What about Jessica? She's not your problem anymore. 2 days later, Frank's phone rang. It was Richard. Frank put it on speaker. Where is she? Richard's voice was sharp, angry. Who? Frank asked. Don't play games. Where's my wife? Your wife is safe, away from you. She can't just leave. We need to talk. Talk to her lawyer. I don't have a lawyer. I don't need one. This is between me and her. Not anymore, Frank said, and hung up. Richard called 47 times that day. Frank blocked him. A week later, the lawyer called again. He hired someone. They're contesting everything. This is going to be a fight. Good, I said. Let it be a fight. It took 9 months. 9 months of depositions, evidence, testimony. Daniel told everything he knew. The investigators shared his files. The bank records proved everything. Richard tried to say I was confused, that I was old, that I didn't understand our finances. But the lawyer had recordings, receipts, proof. In the end, Richard got nothing. The house was mine, the accounts were mine, the insurance stayed mine. He had to pay me alimony from his pension, the pension I'd helped him earn. The Jessica had the baby, a boy, Richard's son. They're living in some town in Indiana now, in a small apartment. She works at a grocery store, he works at a hardware store. They're broke, barely getting by. Daniel met someone new, a woman named Kara. She's a teacher. She's kind, real. She treats him like he matters. I'm still in Ohio, living near Frank. I got a small house, 2 bedrooms, a garden. I volunteer at the library here, too.
I have coffee with Karen on Thursdays. I call Daniel every Sunday. Sometimes I think about Richard, about the man I thought he was, about 34 years of believing him, trusting him. But mostly, I don't think about him at all. Last week, I got a letter from Jessica. She said she was sorry. She said she was young and stupid and she didn't know what she was doing. She said Richard left her, just walked out one day. She doesn't know where he is. She asked if I could help her, with money, with the baby. She said she had nowhere else to turn. I read the letter twice. Then I folded it, put it in a drawer. I haven't written back. I don't think I will. Because here's what I learned. You can love someone for decades. You can give them everything. But the moment they think you're weak, the moment they think you won't fight back, they'll take it all. Richard thought I'd never know. Jessica thought I'd never act. They both thought I was just an old woman, tired, done. They were wrong. I'm sitting in my kitchen now, the same kitchen where I found them, except this kitchen is mine, just mine, and I'm drinking my tea and I'm thinking about my garden, about what I'll plant this spring. I'm thinking about starting over at 69 years old, and I'm not scared anymore. I threw the letter away this morning, Jessica's letter. I watched it disappear into the trash, and I felt nothing. Daniel called today. He and Kara are engaged. A small wedding, he said. Just family, just people who matter. "Will you be there, Mom?" he asked. "Of course," I said. "Wouldn't miss it." After we hung up, I sat in my garden. The tomatoes are coming in, the roses too. Everything I planted is growing.
My neighbor Helen waved from her yard. "Coffee tomorrow?" she called. "Sounds good," I said. This is my life now. Small, quiet, mine. Sometimes people ask if I'm lonely, if I miss being married, if I regret leaving. I tell them no, and I mean it. Because here's the truth nobody tells you. The truth I had to learn the hard way. It's better to be alone than to be with someone who's already gone. Richard left me long before I left him, maybe years before I found out, maybe the moment he decided I wasn't enough, that I was just in the way. But he made one mistake, one big mistake. He forgot that the quiet ones are always watching, always listening, always remembering. And when we finally move, we don't just leave, we make sure you can't follow. So if you're watching this and you're in my situation, here's what I want you to know. You're not too old. You're not too tired. You're not done. You're just getting started. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have a garden to tend and a life to live. And it's a good life, even without him, especially without him. If this story of quiet strength resonated with you, if you've ever felt taken for granted, let me know in the comments. Share your own small acts of courage. And if you want more real stories about finding your voice later in life, hit that subscribe button and ring the bell for the Grandma's Chair. Bye for now.